Right, I get that too. Now, I always remind whoever's in the car with me that that's illegal to stop American citizens within America.
I even told my wife, I said, I'm not showing. She said, she goes, I guess we better get our passports out. I said, don't you dare. I said, in fact, I won't even show them my driver's license unless they're a state trooper. I said, they have no right to question us when we travel through America today. But, in light of 9/11 now, they're trying to turn their, I hate to say this, but the United States is winning the direct war in the battlefield, but we're truly losing to the terrorists because they're changing our country, and that's what they set out to do.
Right. Well, I don't remember now if I read it in your book or not, but they say it wasn't Osama that took away our freedoms. We did that ourselves.
Absolutely. The Patriot Act helps take them away, and what I find scary is the Patriot Act is so close to, I think they called it the Enabling Act, which is what the Nazis and Hitler did in Germany prior to World War II. If you look at the two of them, they're very, very similar in what they do to the people. They try to tell the people that we're passing this for your own safety. And always remember, when government tells you they're going to protect you, get ready because you're going to lose your freedoms in the process.
Absolutely. I learned that the Patriot Act was penned by a Vietnamese transplant.
Really?
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. I don't know that for a fact, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, there's a new film out called Washington, You're Fired, where he takes the Patriot Act apart pretty well, and I think the guy's name was Viet Dinh.
Okay.
And he's actually, he's on the Bush administration, and he's the author of What Took Away Our Freedoms. And, I'm not a prejudiced person, but somebody from Vietnam, I'm like, do we have a short memory or what?
Yeah, exactly. And, and that's another thing that I bring up today. People are attacking me because I'm questioning 9/11 with some simple questions. And I find it amazing that if you even question it, your credibility's trashed, your patriotism is questioned and all that. And yet, when I was teaching at Harvard in 2004, McNamara came through, and he's getting old now, and apparently he feels he's going to go meet his maker, so it's time to fess up. He's admitted the Gulf of Tonkin incident never happened.
I know.
And that was the incident, that the catalyst that got us full-fledged into the Vietnam War, where 58,000 of our generation were killed. Who knows how many Vietnamese were killed? And it was war under false pretense again. It was lying to get us to war.
It does appear now that a lot of these torpedo attacks were from the sonar man, you see. And they get keyed up to a thing like this. Everything they hear on the sonar is a torpedo.
You're pretty sure there was a torpedo attack then?
Oh, no doubt about that, I think. No doubt about that.
No, it was just confusion. And events afterwards showed that our judgment that we'd been attacked that day was wrong.
Yeah, it was lying to get us to war. Well, history often repeats itself. We lied to get into the Iraq War now. Weapons of mass destruction, they weren't there. Ties to Al-Qaeda, they weren't there. And the list goes on with the deception that got us into this Iraq War.
Right. Now, I told you earlier that I've read your book, and it's excellent, Jesse.
Thank you.
And what I like is that you talk about Vince Bugliosi on the stolen election of 2000. He was one of my first guests on the stolen election.
Okay.
And the fact that if you look at that and then you come up to the election results that were supposed to be given to us finally on September 12th, 2001. And all of a sudden, September 11th happened, and, Bush made a remark that he hit the trifecta that day. So if you look at, nobody paid attention anymore to the stolen election and an illegal president. The Patriot Act gets slammed down our throats, and 2 illegal wars start. I would say somebody's making a lot of money on this.
Well, I'm sure that somebody is. A great deal of money is being made on this war. I mean, look at Iraq right now. There's as many private contractors are over there as there are soldiers.
Right.
And they're getting paid a heck of a lot more than what our military personnel are being paid. You got Blackwater and you got all these other entities over there. And people need to remember that there are people in war who profiteers that profit greatly when war. Halliburton. Take a look at what their stock has gone up since the war began and what it was before. And another interesting little thing I saw when Bush came, right when Bush was campaigning to win in 2000, he criticized Clinton for having no energy policy. And at that time, a barrel of crude oil was $31 a barrel.
Right.
Today, it's as high as $111 a barrel, and that's it's gone up 300% in less than 8 years. I would say Bush has a great energy policy, making the Saudis rich.
What were those explosions reported by the FDNY? And why weren't the planes intercepted?
Either I'm hallucinating from heat stroke, or I'm inside the world's largest indoor ski resort, Ski Dubai. This is truly a surreal place. They have brought a winter wonderland to the desert.
Perhaps, well, he's got a lot of business partners in Saudi, so, who follow the money is what they say. Let me ask you this, Jesse, as a veteran of Vietnam, what do you think about all these private contractors in this war?
I think in a way they're horrible because, they don't have to follow any rules of engagement. They're gunslinging cowboys over there that can do anything they basically want. The Iraqis can't even prosecute them. If they do anything wrong, they're just pulled out of the country and sent back to the States, and there's no accountability to them at all. And why should they be making, 10 times as much as a soldier does over there for essentially doing the same thing without any type of leadership or anybody any checks and balances on them?
Oh, and then, you look at a firm like Blackwater with all their crimes there. The government just renewed their contract.
Yep.
So you got to look at it and you say, wow, have we left the planet? Are we living in bizarro land? I mean, what happened?
Well, it's our own fault, Meria. If you look at our media today, are we truly getting the news? Absolutely not. We're getting entertainment. And I love to tell this story. The people who are at fault are 60 Minutes. And it's not that they didn't do a great job. It isn't that they didn't investigate well. They're a terrific show. But here's what happened. Up until that point in time, when you had Walter Cronkite and all those people doing the news lost money. And the networks and the bean counters upstairs wrote it off as, well, that's what we have to do to inform. We'll make it up in our other departments. Well, along came 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes shot to number one on the ratings, and the bean counters, then the light went off. They said, you mean you can make money off the news? Well, then the news no longer became the news. It became entertainment. It no longer became reporting the news. It became creating the news. Case in point, and I threw this out at Fox and all these guys that say they're not told what they're supposed to report on. How on earth last year could Anna Nicole Smith be the lead story on television for a month and a half?
I agree. It's sick.
It's crazy. And then Britney Spears shaves her head. That's the lead story on the news.
I know. It's crazy. Jesse, I know you've done talk radio. I put out at least 4 or 5 shows a week on my own.
Right.
And when I get to do the news, it actually takes me in Speed Talk New York time an hour and a half just to squeeze all the news I have to give to the world. And then you watch TV, and this is what they concern themselves with. Who's the latest, Dancing with the Stars kickoff or whatever. And I'm like, are these people kidding me or what? America's going down the tubes at the speed of light, and this is what they're covering?
Yeah, and Meria, it's our fault. It's our fault because we're like lemmings. That's one of the reasons I wrote the book. I said I'm tired of this lemming attitude of this country where we're led right off the cliff to drop into the water. And we all do it, and nobody questions their government anymore. And